Welcome to another episode of the Forgotten Athlete Podcast with your host Joseph. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's had a great week. New start to a new week. Um, Today is August 28th, almost end of the month. For other people who are in sales or people with quota, good luck this week. Hopefully you make it. If you don't, you got another month to make it again, right? Um, just wanted to, discuss a couple things today. Um, Nebraska is awful. Scott Frost needs to be fired. Just got a text from an alumni, and he does not, um, you know, thinks the same thing. And then I got Tom Brady to talk about and the Buccaneers' expectations, as well as some more NFL news with the Niners struggled in the preseason. I think that they struggled a lot to kind of pan out what they wanted to do for the regular season, or maybe they're not showing a lot. I know they're without Elijah Mitchell, and a lot of their starters did not play a lot, but they didn't look too good, especially was that Friday night or Thursday night. Amazon deal wanted to talk about that, with the streaming service, and talk about how this will affect the rest of the streaming for sports. And then also, wanted to, to discuss all that in this episode. But I think we can start from the Tom Brady. Actually, let's start from Nebraska because that was yesterday, and it was extremely disappointing. Since Scott Frost has been there, there's a record. I think he's like 3-20 in games decided by 8 points or less, right? So yesterday happened again. So now he's 3-21 or whatever the case. I don't have the record in front of my face, but it's something along those lines, right? And just Nebraska was supposed to have a great season this year. I forget my, um, you know, I'm just I'm just disappointed just because I picked Nebraska to be good this year, competitive, win about 8-9 games this year, even possibly win 10 games, and be in the Big Ten playoffs. I'm sorry, Big Ten conference championship. But after yesterday losing to Northwestern, it's clear where their season's headed, and that's the same thing as last year. So they're 11 point. Well, let's start off from the scratch. They started off as 17-point favorites. People start, like that's not that people start betting against them, right? And they're 11-point favorites at kickoff, right? So the game's in Dublin, Ireland. I didn't know that. I thought that the game was going to be in Nebraska. But either the case, the game's in Dublin, Ireland, right? They're there for a couple of weeks, practicing, traveling around Ireland, which is a beautiful country. I would love to visit there one day. If anyone has been there before, or if anybody's listening from Ireland, feel free to DM me. Check, hook me up with some good spots to drink beer, travel, and whatnot. But back to Nebraska sucking. But Nebraska, man, they are the epitome of like repeating the same thing of insanity. That's the word I'm looking for. They do the same thing over and over and over again yearly, right? And yesterday was another example of that. So they're up, right? They're first off, they're up in the first half. They're looking great. I'm like, oh wow, this team's gonna win by 30 points. Like first drive, come down, score a touchdown. What's his quarterback's name? Casey Thompson, I think is his name. Comes down, throws a touchdown, and it was like a 40-yard bomb. It was a beautiful ball. I was like, oh yeah, this game's over. They got the guy from Pittsburgh calling plays and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a wrap, right? And then Northwestern comes down. They I think they score a touchdown. Or no, they get a field goal, right? They come down 7-3. Nebraska comes back, they score another touchdown. Up I think like 14-3 at that point. Maybe they scored a field goal, 10-3. They were up by at least a field goal. I'm sorry, by at least a touchdown. So, anyways, game goes on, game progresses. Northwestern gets the lead at halftime. No biggie, no big at all. Nebraska comes out. Thompson makes a beautiful play, spins around, fakes the run, backs up, makes a Johnny Manziel look, throws the ball, chucks it deep, and then they get a touchdown on that same drive. It was a beautiful play to open up the third quarter. It was a beautiful play to just in general of any game, any point in any game. Even if they were losing that game, that's a beautiful play. Probably one of the best plays we'll see in this early, season. So they score a touchdown. They're up 11 They're like, okay, Nebraska's taking this game over. And then out of nowhere, they do an onside kick. And we're just like, me and my brother are watching the game. My brother, I'm like, what the heck? An onside kick? Where did this come from? And you're just like shocked. You just don't know where it came from, right? And you're just like trying to understand. Okay, well, maybe he was trying to go up 18 instead of 11. Maybe he was scared that his defense couldn't get a stop. And I didn't really listen to his press conference after the game. I don't know if he was asked about it. But I mean, let's be honest, Nebraska fans, if anyone who is a Nebraska fan, we understand, this is what Nebraska does. This is what Scott Frost has done the past, what has he been since what, 2017, 2016, past like 6 seasons. This is what he's done every single year. He does this every single year. And it's to the point where I think Nebraska fans are immune to it. Like just talking to Nebraska fans, like Nebraska players, Nebraska, not players, but people who root for Nebraska and whatnot. You seeing it on Twitter and stuff like that. Like they were all like just waiting for the, just waiting for something to happen because that's what happens in Nebraska games. And then that onside kick was the domino effect. Everything just started fumbling from that point, and they end up losing. Once 17-point favorites, they lose outright at 11-point closing. So I say this. I say that. I said all that to say this. Scott Frost, Nebraska athletic director. I don't know who you are, but the man needs to be fired. All right, he needs to be held accountable for his actions. He needs to be held accountable for continuing to make the same mistakes on an annual basis. And this is to the point where you had so much hype around your team, so many transfers, great recruiting class, just for you to make the same mistakes and lose. Next topic, we got Buccaneers, Tom Brady. So as everyone knows, Tom Brady has been out for he took a I guess it's a bereavement because of death. I guess not a bereavement, but he took a leave of absence from his team for 11 days. And sometimes you just need a break from work, right? I don't know about 11 days break, but if anyone has earned an 11-day break, it's Tom Brady, right? So Tom Brady takes an 11-day break. He says it's because of personal matters. Doesn't really go into it. And today he speaks for the first time, and he's all like, "Well, you go through a lot of." He's like, "I'm 45. I'm going through a lot of, I'm 45 years old. Something along the lines of like he's going through a lot of stuff right now." And it kind of made him relatable in a way. I mean, Tom Brady has always been a relatable individual. I think from his combine, him not being the fastest player, him just outsmarting everybody, him, being the most prepared person, to play the position of quarterback, just him being a winner. He's super relatable, and people hate on him, people love him. But at the end of the day, you got to, there's not too many people that don't respect the man, right? And Tom Brady is an individual who has earned the right to kind of, do what he wants, right? At the time that he wants, and no one kind of questions it. But yesterday, during the press conference, and then watching them play as well, and then just seeing that Brady only played one series yesterday, it was just, it was just me thinking like this might be a rough year for the Buccaneers. And I'm not saying that they're going to miss playoffs, they're not going to win a division, but there will be some games where they're going to be close, and they're going to be closer than what they want to be. So like games like against the Falcons, games against the Panthers, games where they'll probably be like 8-point, 9-point favorites, those games are going to come down to the wire. And I think those games are going to be those games that the Bucs will end up winning, but on the same token, they're going to be, struggling to win those games. And when you have a toll, or when you do that and you take a toll on you, those games take a toll on you, right? Week in and week out. You know, in from a competitive team, right? Who players aren't really equipped to handle some of that stuff, like the young offensive lineman, for example. I don't know how that's going to shake off, come playoff time, come seeding time, and whatnot. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm still expecting, the Bucs to win the AFC South, but just watching the game yesterday, I could see some struggle points during this time of the year. And I haven't looked at their schedule yet. Matter of fact, I can pull up the schedule right now and take a look at it just to kind of give you some insight of what I believe their record would be. Now, I did tell you guys last week I did take the over of their win totals, but I mean, I'm every day I'm like saying, "Dang, I shouldn't have done that," because it was even odds, right? And anytime something even odds, it's a challenge for that bet to hit because the public has been hammering that that opposing number all this whole time. So just looking at the regular season and seeing who they play, right? Cowboys week 1, that's an easy win. Should be an easy win, but that's a game where they could struggle, right? That's a game where they could literally struggle, right? And end up losing that game in a shootout. I mean, all it takes is just one possession for Michael Parsons to get a strip sack, or Trayvon Diggs to get an interception, or someone to force a turnover, and the Cowboys win that game. The Saints, that's a very losable game because you know why? Brady has not beaten the Saints since he's played for the Buccaneers in the regular season, right? So they could easily start off 0-2, and then they go and then they play they host the Packers, they host the Chiefs, So I mean, they could easily start off 0-4. I mean, I've never seen a Brady team start off 0-4. I don't see it happening now. But if they start off 0-4, they can start off 2-2. I don't see them going 4-0 in these first 4 games. I just don't. It's just because these games are just a challenge. Now, the good thing about this is that these are games that are early on in the season. So towards the later stretch of the season, they get a break and they start playing easier teams. Schedule gets easier, schedule gets lighter. So that's a positive. But just looking at the schedule, just from what I've seen, from what they're looking like I expect them to go 2-2 this stretch. I expect them to beat the Cowboys. I expect them to beat the Packers. I think they're going to lose to the Saints and the Chiefs. I just do. And then they play the Buccaneers. I'm sorry, they play the Falcons. October. Pull up the schedule again. Sorry, I had to switch the screen out. They play the Steelers after that. See, I mean, this is where it gets kind of lighter. So, you can see them going, what is this? 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. So 5-2 going, and then they host the Ravens. I think it's Sunday night game. No, actually Thursday night game. Thursday night game. So Thursday night game, quick recovery time. They play the Panthers the Sunday prior. So that's a game where you may see a lot of running from a lot of backs, like because Keyshawn Vaughn might get in the game. The rookie Rashad White, their backup guy, I forget who their name is, but they're passing down back, forget that guy's name. But that's a game where you'll see probably about 4 or 5 running backs play against the Panthers, just because they're focused on that Ravens game, which is a way tougher opponent. They're gonna have to put up way more points than versus the Panthers. So they start off 5-2, they start off 6-2, and then they play the Rams, which is I don't know about the Rams this year. I just don't. I think they have some struggle points as well. I think there's a lot of positivity coming from the Rams. Obviously, they just had that fight with the Bengals. Aaron Donald was holding 2 helmets. But that same aggression is still there from the Rams defense. They added Bobby Wagner, so expect Bobby Wagner to have a huge impact in that linebacker room. It just is. The running defense is going to be a lot better than it was last year. I expect that for a fact. And then they go to the Seattle Seahawks, the Browns. I mean, these are all easy wins. Those 2 games, the Saints. So I mean, this is going to be rough here for them. It just is. And for anyone to, negate that, to say, oh, it's not, it's gonna be a cake, walk in the park, they're lying to you. It's just not gonna be a walk in the park for them. It's just not. And I think Brady knows that. And I think that's what he's taking time, because he's know that he's gonna have to prep as hard as he's had to prep all career. This is literally the worst offensive line he's ever had to play with, and he's had to play against, I mean, he played with great offensive line, great coaching, great preparation throughout his whole career. And now he has to play against injured core who, let's face it, their second, third stringers going to be starting for the Buccaneers. And now you're going to see the greatness from Brady once again with his preparation. And he's just getting ready for that. He just is. All these games that he's looking at down the schedule, he's like, wow, this is a tough schedule. This is a tough 17 games. It just is. Next on the topic, let's see what we got. So, I mean, yeah, just to kind of summarize it, I still expect the Buccaneers to make the playoffs, to win a division, but I'm conscious on that 11 and a half. I'm conscious on them winning 12 games. I just am. I just don't. I just don't know. I just don't know if they can do it. I just don't. I looked at it and I'm like, this is definitely a doable number because it's Brady. Brady, has he ever not won 12 games? I mean, obviously he has, but I'm just saying. I mean, it's been a while. All right, let's take a look at what we got next on the agenda. We got the Niners struggles. So okay, so I mean, listen, I listen to a lot of Niners media. I just do. I mean, I live in the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area, and that's the only team in the Bay Area. So there's a lot of content about the Niners. And all the Niners content people, they're all praising and raising about Trey Lance. And there's some guys who are honest, some guys who are very, very, very biased. So I don't really listen to them so much. But I have been saying it all off season, and if you've been listening to me, you know what I'm gonna say next. That the Niners will struggle a lot this year. They just will, and they're not gonna be blasting off 20, 30 point wins. They just aren't. I mean, no teams really do that in NFL, regardless, but they aren't going to be as good as people think they are. I just don't think that they will be that good. Now, I do believe their defense is the best it's been since probably the Harbaugh days, and that's saying a lot. But I do say on the other side that with their offense, with Trey Lance just needs reps, man. And at the end of the day, like Trey Lance just needs reps. And until he gets those reps, we are not going to know how good Trey Lance is and Trey Lance will be. We just don't. He's only played in 14 games in the past, like 3 seasons. He didn't play at all. He played in 2 games last year. Didn't look quite as good, but I watched his games over this year, and he looked like a rookie. He looked like a rookie who was playing for the first time, who's trying to understand a rough offense to learn for a quarterback because it's so much timing with the passings, so much timing with his footwork when he's handing the ball off. There's just a lot of technicality in the Shanahan offense that Trey Lance was not ready for last year, and that's super understandable. It is. It just is. Now he has Sudfield. Now he has what's the guy's name? The other guy in the quarterback room, Brady, something like that. From Baylor. I forget his name. No disrespect, but I just forgot your name. I think it's Brock Purdy, something like that. But anyways, they have a young quarterback room, so not a lot of guys. Sudfield, I think, is the veteran quarterback who's been in that offense before. The longest, and you're gonna see that maybe a veteran presence is needed in that quarterback room, like Jimmy G. Now, to add on top of this, Jimmy G's contract becomes guaranteed. 26.5 million becomes guaranteed on Tuesday, August 30th. And I don't know what's going to happen, but that's crazy amount to guarantee to a backup quarterback. So and you got Bosa to play. You got Bosa to pay. You got well, I guess you already paid Debo. So I guess Bosa's your only big guy you got to pay. Kittle probably wants to get another contract before he, his contract is up. So you got a lot of things. You got a lot of decisions to make. So, but yeah, Trey Lance, he's just not ready, man. I mean, I'm just looking at his preseason tape, just watching his games, and it's just a lot of flustering. Like he's missing a lot of easy reads that he should be making. Like one of the plays where it was a crossing pattern, it was third down. It was like 3 and 5 or 6, like third and median. And Debo goes because okay, so when I'm watching the offense, I can see things that I believe, and obviously I don't know what's happening because I'm not in those rooms, but I can speculate. And the play was a crossing route for Ayuk, and I believe Debo assignment was not to get the ball because he was running like full speed, and Trey Lance threw him the ball like a streak route. He threw him the ball on a fade, and Ayuk was wide open on a cross route for about a 30-yard gain. He had to have seen him because he looked over because Brandon Ayuk is under Debo, so he had to have seen him, but he just wanted to get the big play. And those are plays in the NFL that you're not going to be able to make anymore, Trey Lance. You're just not. You can't make those plays. You see something, you take it. It's easy as that. And that's the thing that I'm watching Byron Leftwich pivot episode with Fred Taylor, Ryan Clark, and Shannon Crowder, and they had Byron Leftwich on. And Byron Leftwich says, and because they asked him, what makes Tom Brady so great? He's all like, he's just simple. He simplifies the game. He takes what the defense gives him. He doesn't force anything. And when you got guys like Aaron Rodgers, when you got guys like Peyton Manning, when you got guys like Brady, he's in that conversation. obviously. Those guys, they take what defense gives them. They don't force anything. Now on the flip side, you have guys like Mahomes, you have guys like Josh Allen, you have guys like who else? Brett Favre, guys like Dan Marino, guys like that historically who do that, who take what the defense gives them, but they also just take. They don't really take what the defense gives them. They force everything in. And you can be successful at that at times, but you're not on that level at the moment. Now, Trey Lance, when you prove to be at that moment, after this point, then yeah, do whatever you want. But I don't think you're going to be like that on another level with Kyle Shanahan as your OC. And to add to that, I think we'll get a lot of running plays with Trey Lance. I just do. I don't think that they're going to be running the ball as much as they do with Debo. Debo had 100 plus attempts last year. I don't think he gets that. I think that gets cut in half, maybe like 50, 60 attempts this year. And I think that Trey Lance will run the ball a lot more than people are expecting Trey Lance not to. But yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the Niners season, because this is going to be a long episode, so take your time, kick your feet up, man, and just enjoy the breakdown that I'm giving you. All right, because I really live for this, and I think that the Niners have a good chance of winning the division this year. I do. I picked them to win it last week. You guys heard me, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that they aren't going to struggle. So they have I say two easy games start off the year. They play the Bears and they play the Seattle Seahawks. These are must wins. You look at your schedule. You look at the first 6 games. Always look at the first 6 games of the NFL schedule, just because like that's when you can see how good the team's going to be from that point. Now, sometimes it doesn't go as planned. It doesn't go as what you expected. But at the end of the day, this is an accurate depiction of how good this team's going to be, right? So Niners are, historically known with Kyle Shanahan to start off slow, finish strong. That's what they did. But this year they have to start off strong, because I'm looking at the back end of their schedule, and it's not as easy as it has been in past years. So let's start it off, right? The Bears and the Seahawks, first 2 games on the slate, those are must wins. They have to win those games to start up 2-0, right? Then they go to Denver on a Sunday night. It looks like this game is going to be a tough game to win, because I don't know how Trey Lance is going to look. And he's going to let's face it, he's going to a different atmosphere. Literally, the elevation there will make you like lose breath like instantly, and it's going to be a different atmosphere. So I don't know if he's going to be able to run around a lot. I don't know what the case will be, but I do know this, that Russell Wilson, he smells blood. He knows it's the Niners. He knows what their defense does. He's been playing them for the past 12 seasons. He knows what to expect from them. 11 seasons, however long he's been in the league for. So he knows what to expect from the Niner defense, especially the same core that they've already had for the past couple of seasons. I can see them losing this game. So I'm going to say that they lose this game, start off 2-1, right? Then they go play the Rams. They host the Rams on Monday night. This is a game where I expect them to win. Kyle Shanahan destroys Sean McVay. He owns the Rams. They win this game 3-1. They go to Carolina. This is a trap game. This will be a trap game, because look at the 2 before games. They play the Broncos. They play the Rams. If they win these 2 games back to back, this is a trap game. Now, if they lose the Broncos game, they win the Rams game, then I think they'll dominate this game. But if they win both of these games, the Broncos and Rams game, this is a game that they could lose. So this is a game that Niner fans need to mark on their calendar and kind of expect them to, be ready for this game, because if they're not, they could lose this game, easily lose this game. I can see DJ Moore going off for a big game that year. I mean, that game. So October 9th, Niner fans, please have that game marked on your calendar. Just do, because it's a game that you guys could lose. It is. Then they go to Atlanta, easy win. So what do we have, man? We have 2, 3. What is that? 3-1. 4. I'm gonna say they win the Panthers game. So 4-1, 5-1. Then they go play the Chiefs. This is a game that I think they're gonna lose. I just don't think that they have the. I don't think Trey Lance is at that level yet to beat Mahomes 1-on-1. So 5-2. Then they go to the Rams. I think they lose this game 5-3. Then they go to the Chargers. Chargers come to them 5-4. So you see what I'm saying? They're
their schedule gets tougher as the year goes on. So they gotta collect those W's easy, those easy wins, quote unquote easy wins. They gotta win early on. Then they 5-4. They play the Cardinals. I'm gonna say they win this game 6-4. Saints 7-4. Dolphins. That's a toss 'em. It is. But I'm gonna say 8-4. They win that game. Buccaneers. They lose that game 8-5. Seahawks win that game 9-5. Commanders. Another toss up game on Christmas Eve. But I'll say they win that game 10-4. They play the Raiders. Tough game. I don't think they win that game. I just don't. And then the last game of the season is going to decide if they win 11 games or if they win 10 games. But I do think that this is going to be a 10-11 win team. So I'm looking at the schedule. I mapped it out. This is going to be a tough year for them. It just is. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs, some 2-game losing streaks. But Niner fans, it's okay because this is going to be a. I don't expect to win the Super Bowl this year as a Niner fan. If I'm a Niner fan, I just don't. I expect to have a good season, a division winning season, a playoff winning season, but you aren't quite there yet. Trey Lance is not at that level to win the Super Bowl this year. He's just not. But yeah, last thing on I think the slate today is the NFL contract with Apple TV and the Amazon deal. So let's talk about the Amazon deal for a quick minute, just because. So John Middlecoff, he's one of my podcasters I listen to like on a weekly basis. He has a podcast called Three Now, and he's talking about the Amazon deal and how like effective it is, right? So I didn't realize how how much money the NFL is making from these streaming rights deal. Amazon's paying the NFL $1 billion a year to have Thursday night football. One game a year. I mean, sorry, one game a week. They're paying $1 billion for it. And the way John Middlecoff, kind of made it seem, or the way he explained it was that that Amazon's taking a loss, but they know at the end of the day they're going to be winning money. They're going to be they're going to be the only team. Oh, I'm sorry, only streaming service hosting Thursday night football, and then eventually, this is my opinion. Eventually, they'll get to host. Maybe Sunday, maybe they'll have a Sunday NFL ticket package in the next, after the contract ends, in 2033. Maybe they'll be able to host a Super Bowl event in 2033, and that's going to give them way more money than just what $1 billion. They may just make $1 billion from the Super Bowl, in one day. So I said to say this, man. When you compare what Apple is paying, or sorry, what Apple is paying the MLB. Apple TV is paying MLB $85 million a year. Amazon is paying NFL $1 billion a year. They're not even in the same category in terms of just rights, in terms of just like level of just like viewership. Like it's just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous how impactful the NFL is compared to just any other sport. It just does not make sense. I mean, it makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to the average viewer. And I'm looking at the deal, and NFL, sorry, not NFL, but the NFL may be making more money. Well, we'll be making more money with the Sunday NFL ticket package. So Sunday NFL ticket package, the rights in I think next year. This is the last season where the Sunday NFL ticket will be on DirecTV. So the NFL is thinking that we're going to go to streaming platforms to kind of make money and have the NFL Sunday ticket on Apple TV or YouTube TV or whatever the case may be, right? So with that being said, Apple TV is offering $4 billion a year to have Sunday NFL ticket, and I think that what we're seeing is just a huge shift in just the way that we watch TV, right? We watch TV, you go to your friend's couch, and Middlecoff made this point where you go to like your friend's, couch, or you go to your friend's room, you go to their friend's house. Most of the time you don't have a friend that has a cable box. They have YouTube TV, they have smart TV, all these streaming apps, right? And you're seeing a loss in cable boxes. Like my parents, I live in my parents' house right now at the moment. I'm visiting them. I'm sorry, in Georgia, right? And they have a cable box, and my mom always complains, "Oh my gosh, I wish there was another like streaming service." My mom wants to just get like YouTube TV. oh yeah, I liked it, but it just didn't have everything I needed. So in 3 years from now, I guarantee that she will have YouTube TV. It's because it's gonna have everything that she wants on it, right? Now there are certain like she doesn't even like my mom doesn't even watch a lot of TV. Like they just don't. My mom watches a lot of streaming shows. She surfs the internet a lot and stuff like that, right? So she's gonna realize eventually in a couple years down the road that she's not gonna need. She's like, why am I paying Xfinity $200 or $280 a month? Like it just doesn't make any sense. I'm just gonna get internet, get a streaming box, whatever the case may be, and just stream everything because there's no purpose 10 years from now. There's just no purpose to have a streaming box. Or sorry, no purpose to have a cable box while you're watching TV. Now the only flip side is, and this is where the NFL and media companies, streaming companies need to fix is just the lag. Even if it's just a 5 second lag, a 3 second lag, it's just the lag kills me, which is why I pay for pay for cable and I have cable boxes just because the lag that you get when you're streaming is just horrible. Like even on the NBA League Pass, it's like almost 2 minutes from just the current possession to when you're watching on a TV, and it just does not make any sense. Same thing with the NFL. When you stream NFL, it's just horrible. Now Amazon, their streaming is brilliant. Now I don't watch MLB, so I don't know how it is, but I know with the Amazon Prime, their streaming is perfect. You watch it on you watch it on Amazon Prime, you see it on it's the same time as you see it on NFL Network. So well, at least that's what it was last year, right? This year, I guess NFL Network won't have Thursday night, so it'll just be on Amazon Prime. But at the end of the day, this is a big deal for all people. Even if you don't watch sports, this is going to change how you watch TV because you're not going to because sooner or later people aren't going to be going to Xfinity to get kill box. They just aren't, and the NFL realizes that, and other sports need to realize that as well. Otherwise, they're going to get left in the rain. They just are. But I don't think there's anything else to talk about today. I think we're good. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, this is just. I think the NFL is always ahead of the time, and I think that they understand how important the audience is, and I understand. They believe they know how to target their audience. That's never been an issue for the NFL. The biggest thing for the NFL, and I guess this is where I can lead off. Actually, is dealing with the public and when it comes to punishing the players. And this is last thing I'll talk about, and that's it. Is the Matt Araiza? I think that's his name. They call he has a nickname. I forget his nickname. San Diego State kicker, our punter, was accused of gang rape on a minor, 17-year-old. And there's reports. I never like to cast like, oh, this is what's wrong with the world and all this stuff. I just don't, just because I just don't think that's right to do. But at the same token, I'm looking at the documents. I'm looking at how how the girl called him and he admitted, or he told her to get tested for STDs, and then she says, "Oh, so we did do it," and he goes off and says, "Oh no, I don't remember what happened last night. My name is Manna Reza. I'm not." It just there's a lot of guilty stuff going out on the road, and I can't really cast judgment on the guy just because all the facts aren't out yet. Just is just one side of it, but it's not looking too good for the guy. It just isn't. And Brandon Bean, GM of the Bills, made a decision to cut him yesterday, and I think it was the right move. It just was. It just anytime a player is associated with sexual assault, sexual misconduct, rape, in this case, it just that stigma is going to circle you for the rest of your career. It just is. And that's why players like Darius Geis, first pick overall for the Redskins a few years back, now the Commanders, a few years back, and he's free to sign with whoever. But no NFL team is touching him because of the domestic violence charge that he felt that he had. So even though the charges were dropped, I believe, you know, it's just that's why the Deshaun Watson case is an outlier because um he denied. He gets 11 game suspension, so we understand that he has a suspension and whatnot. But Deshaun Watson obviously is different because he's a franchise quarterback. Matt Araiza. Unfortunately, he's a punter who doesn't get the quite the same level of confidence in our I guess level of confidence. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the guy got paid $230 million, Deshaun Watson. You got to be confident in a guy to play if you're going to give him that much money, guaranteed. But yeah, man, once the NFL has a clear judgment or a clear punishment of what happens to players once something happens, once they do a violation, whether it be a suspension, whether it be a community service, whether it be a fine, just have something in the guidelines, right? Have something in the guidelines. I'm not one of those people who thinks, oh, you make one bad mistake, you can't play in the NFL every game. That's not who I am as a person. Just because I believe we all fall short sometimes. No, maybe not as big as other people. I'm not saying that everyone does what other people do, but we all make mistakes at times, right? And sometimes we need a second chance. And I believe second chances are, should happen and will happen in the future. But you need a guideline. You need guidelines to understand what to do when these certain events happen. And obviously, these are events that you don't think your players should be doing in the first place, but in case they do, this is the punishment for it. So, with that being said, I'm out of here. No more topics today. Um, College football this Saturday. I'm super excited just because Georgia Bulldogs. That's my team this year. College football, I'm a bandwagon fan just because I went to UC Santa Cruz. No colleges. I mean, no college football there. We had a trash basketball team. Sorry, guys, but y'all weren't good. I know my man. I got a lot of guys who were on that team, but y'all just weren't good. Good volleyball team though. I think it was like D2, I think. But yeah, man. Swimming team was D1, I believe, which was good. But yeah, man, Georgia Bulldog. Those are my guys this year. I think they repeat. I do. I do. I just do. I got them plus 300 to repeat, or plus 375 actually to repeat this year. Super juiced, and I'm happy to root for them this year. All right, so go Dogs. Go my boy Stetson Bennett, my boy Bowers, Armstead. Who else is on that? Mitchell. The running back, I forget the guy's name, but it'll come to my head after the podcast is over. But Bulldogs, we're going all the way, all right?